What we're going to look at now is using different types of optical or illumination components in the Apex program. What you see here is a model of an Abbe reversion prism, and we've also created a ray set to come through the system, as well as a mask to allow us to look at the properties of the light as it goes through the system. So let's take a look on the inside, and what we see is the light coming in, and due to its angle of incidence upon this surface, it will TIR. At this surface, it's necessary to apply a reflectorized coating to get the light to reflect, and then we have a second total internal reflection that occurs before the light exits out of the prism. And we can rotate around a little bit and we can see the distribution of energy. And what we have is a source aperture that looks like the letter R. And we can see how the orientation of the letter changes as the light propagates through the system. Within Apex, although we've defined the solid body that represents this reversion prism, we can, on the individual faces as necessary, apply separate optical properties. So in this particular case, only this surface has the reflecting coating applied. These surfaces, this ray action occurs automatically due to total internal reflection. The input and output faces I've put transmitting coatings on simply to remove the effects of Fresnel reflections to make the actual image a little bit clearer. And here, let me do that a little bit right here. Let's get rid of the image of the rays as they leave the prism. And just click on OK here. And here we can clearly see as the light goes in, we have, let's call it an upward pointing letter R, and after it is reverted through the prism, we see the proper orientation of our ray distribution. The other important property about components, such as this Abbe prism and many others as well, as we've actually defined this within CAD SolidWorks capability, using equation-driven parameters. In this particular case, the size of the prism is driven by the size of the input face. So all I would need to do to change the size of this prism is to come in and change my scaling parameter, and then I would have an Abbe reversion prism of whatever size is necessary. So I don't need to create a reversion prism every time I need one that, for example, is instead of having a 20 millimeter face, has a 50 millimeter face. I simply create one piece of equation-driven geometry and reuse it as necessary. And again, here's sort of a look at all of the light as it's going through our prism.